I'm hearing Gavin Newsom. I'm hearing Gretchen Whitmer. I'm hearing a couple of other names being floated, but nobody's really saying Vice President Kamala Harris, and that's got to sting.
We have a little clip, which is a mashup. There's a much longer version of about 4 minutes of her repeating the same line. This is a little bit of it. Watch this.
What could be, unburdened by what had been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
Well, I didn't know till you told me, and thank goodness you did, because I'd have never known that. The Vice President of the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. And the sad part about it is the actual president isn't any better. As a matter of fact, he's worse. So the news today is it's all but confirmed that Joe Biden will be stepping aside, but it's not something that was unexpected. I've been following Vivek Ramaswamy pretty closely ever since he made his bid to be the Republican candidate, and he has maintained the position the whole time that Joe Biden will not be the Democratic representative in this year's presidential race. And it appears that that will be made official here within the next week, possibly. I don't know. We got the 4th of July coming up real soon, and you know how they like to release information on days where the news is not working. So Thursday and Friday might be a big news day with nobody actually there to report it. Fortunately, I'll be in the chair and I'll be putting out videos trying to keep everybody up to date. But the question still remains, who will be Joe Biden's replacement? And in this video, Piers Morgan and his panel will discuss just that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just check it out.
I mean, Tommy, you posted that on X. I mean, this goes on for 4 minutes. It's about all she ever says. And there's an irony, because the one thing she would be is burdened by what has gone on before. Because if there's anyone in America or the Democrat Party more unpopular than Joe Biden, it is Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Piers, and that's why they keep jacking up Joe to get him through each and every single day, is because the thought of Kamala Harris terrifies them even more than dementia Joe. She also says things about the passage of time and how it passes. I mean, she has no excuse. She doesn't have cognitive decline or dementia to fall back on. She is just that bad. So I think that's why they've been maintaining Joe for so long. It's because of Kamala. But boy, they're going to have to face that reality sooner than later.
Yeah, Francesca, look, we've talked about this before, but there must be a painful moment right now for a lot of people who are Democrats, right? Where your guy is just clearly has now been exposed as, I would argue, as somebody who's not got a horse in the race, I'm British, I just think has exposed himself as unfit for the highest office in the land. But what do? You know, there are 5 months left of the election. You either allow him to limp on, and I believe if that's the case, get crushed by Trump, or you try and parachute somebody else in, which carries with it, as Destiny was saying, its own risks.
Yeah, no, there's massive risks of replacing Joe Biden. That being said, I do think he should be replaced. And interestingly, Hunter Biden is the one family member that wants Joe Biden to not run again.
Why would anyone listen to him? I mean,
well,
I
think it's more I'm just saying
they're
it's
listening
more
to Hunter Biden, the
He
crack
just
addict?
wants a single day without the right on his, you know, because they love to spread photos of it and show it on congressional floors. But look, politically, here's where I stand. I wanted Bernie, not Weekend at Bernie's. I think we all need to just lay that out there. I put this squarely at the feet of the Democratic Party. They ran a piss poor candidate in 2016. They ran in 2020, and yes, they did win. There was a trifecta. There was a COVID-19 pandemic going on at the time, and Obama made that call and everybody fell in line. But is Joe Biden the best candidate this time around? Absolutely not. And I think it is depressing and enraging to millions of Americans who the only person they hate more than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris maybe is Donald Trump, right? Is the fact that you have everything going against Donald Trump, not just the fact that he will pass a national abortion ban, the fact that he wants to implement Project 2025 and abolish the Department of Education.
Here's the problem.
Let me finish.
But that isn't true. He's not said he wants to pass a national abortion ban.
And that right there is another example of how the Democrats aren't listening. They just want to perpetuate lies. They want to claim that Donald Trump is going to pass a federal abortion ban when the reality is he just said in the debate that he's going to leave it to the states. Why would he change that? What would be his motivation to go against the states? The thing about it is Donald Trump has a track record of leaving things to the states. Remember when everybody on both sides was calling for Donald Trump to bring the National Guard into the Chaz Chop area and he resisted? He said, no, if that state wants to allow them to continue trying to burn down their federal buildings and their police departments and take over city blocks that end up killing people, then that's on the state. It's not the federal jurisdiction to go in and stop it. One of the things I really like about this upcoming election is that Donald Trump and Joe Biden both have 4 years of precedent that they've set. Every time Joe Biden says, if I'm elected, I'm going to do this, well, then you can just ask him, well, hey, you're the president. Why aren't you doing it now? Why do you need to be elected to do that? And the same thing applies with Donald Trump when they say, he's going to take away this right. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. You can ask them, well, he was president for 4 years. Why didn't he do it back then? Your fear-mongering tactics don't work in this instance to the people who are paying attention. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are too busy to pay close attention, and they take their news from the wrong sources. But we're trying, right? We're trying to get this information out there so that people can hear it for the first time possibly. But let's continue.
So, see, when I hear Democrats do that, it reminds me of Trump's the new Hitler. It's like, why exaggerate? Why go too far? He's never said he wants a national abortion
Pay attention
ban.
to the news that's happening right now. The far-right takeover of the judicial system in this country is already underway. And just today, they allowed a president to have immunity, total immunity, which means the Jack Smith case
Actually, it
against
wasn't
Donald
total
Trump
immunity. See,
doesn't go forward.
Francesca, look, with respect, again, you're massively exaggerating. The U.S.
Okay,
Supreme Court has ruled
go to Project 2025
let me
and tell me
clarify
what
for
it says,
viewers,
Piers.
right? You said they've given him total immunity. They haven't. The Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump is partially immune from prosecution for actions taken while he was in the White House. They said that while the president's immune from criminal prosecution for official acts taken in office, he is not immune for unofficial acts. Big difference to total immunity. So
Sure,
again, why exaggerate?
There is nothing to exaggerate here. What I'm
You just
saying is
did about abortion and immunity.
so he's immune from stealing White House secrets after he leaves the office. Is that what you're saying? It's okay for him
You
to
mean
keep
like Joe
classified
Biden
documents?
did?
No, it's not like Joe Biden did. It's not apples to apples because Joe Biden kept those secrets after he was senator, right? Senators don't have presidential immunity. He was vice president. He kept more. Vice presidents don't have the presidential immunity from what I understand. So it's not apples to apples. Piers is wrong here.
Yeah, Joe Biden, which when he was told, he was like, oh, here you go. Look, I'm not here to defend Joe Biden. You're trying to get on me. All I'm saying is Donald Trump represents a far worse threat to the American people. And Joe Biden's a terrible messenger for his own damn campaign. He can't even articulate the fact that unemployment was at its lowest rate last year.
Yeah,
Since the year 1969.
I agree. Look, he couldn't
The
articulate.
economy is actually doing quite well under Joe Biden.
Of course.
But the guy can't put his mouth around the words.
And he had a
it sucks
perfectly
because-
good attack line on Trump about abortion if he could remember what it was supposed to be. But he couldn't.
Right.
Michael Knowles, let me
Absolutely.
bring Michael. He'll be waiting very patiently. I mean, look, I think what was extraordinary, 65% of people who watched that debate thought Trump was a winner. Trump hasn't seen approval like that as a politician, right? So that showed you how bad it was. And incredibly, 30% of people who watched it thought that Biden won, which just goes to show how deep partisan tribalism runs, right? Because even Joe Biden knows, even Barack Obama said he had a bad night. What happens here? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I have to correct my friend Francesca here, who says the only person that Americans hate more than Biden is Trump. That isn't true. That's why Biden proposed the debate in the first place, is because his numbers just were not strong enough against Trump, and it completely backfired on him. However, I'm with Destiny. I agree that Biden is the best nominee for the Democrats right now. I still don't think he beats Trump, but who else are they going to pick? As we've said, Kamala, no way. Michelle Obama is not going to run, and she's not nearly as popular as people say she is. Gavin Newsom, I don't think that Patrick Bateman plays in Peoria, okay? I don't think Gavin Newsom wins Michigan. I don't think he wins Pennsylvania. Who? Mayor Pete? Who are we going to get? Are we going to dig up Al Gore? Is he going to run? There is no better candidate for them right now. The problem is that Joe Biden also can no longer be the nominee because the entire liberal establishment has just admitted he's not fit for the job. The biggest problem right now for Biden is he has admitted it. You know, we heard in 2020 that his obvious slips and gaffes and memory lapses were just the recurrence of a childhood stutter that had disappeared for the first 47 years of his political career. But there it came roaring back in 2019. And now even Biden is admitting, he says, I don't talk as well as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But doggone it, the one thing I can do is tell the truth, which rings hollow when even CNN had to go on a 3-minute diatribe, a litany of all the lies that he told during that Thursday debate. And not to forget that Joe Biden dropped out of the 1988 presidential race because of dishonesty. So the question now is, if Destiny and I are correct, and he just is the nominee, then how does the New York Times, how does Politico, how does Washington Post, how does the entire liberal establishment campaign for this guy after admitting he's not fit to be president?
When you and Destiny basically agree, that's when you know how bad this situation is, right? Remember, before the debate, 2/3 of all Democrat voters wanted Biden to stand aside because they were worried he was too old. What do you think they think now? No one's changing their mind on that. If anything, I'd be amazed if it's not 90%. And that's the problem. You've got so many things to attack Trump about, but nobody wants to hear it. When has Trump ever been in a debate where the next day the headlines weren't all about him? It's never happened. But now the only thing that anyone will look for with Biden in the next 5 months is him showing further evidence of mental and physical decline. Let me bring in Tommy. This is going to be the greatest period to be a Donald Trump in a presidential race ever, because he just has to keep allowing his opponent to do stupid things and say dumb stuff and look exhausted and lose his train of thought. That's all he has to do.
Right, and I'd also like to make the point, and I know that the liberals on this panel are going to have a collective hemorrhoid when I say it, but even if former President Donald Trump wasn't standing next to a vegetable last Thursday, he still would have performed excellently, and he did. He got his points across. He was able to finesse some of the issues like abortion in a way that I've always been concerned about, but I think he did a great job. So I also want to point that out. But as I've said, I don't think they're going to keep with Joe Biden. I know that all the Democrats say, well, they have to because of this and that. Logistically, they have to keep with him. You can't keep along with somebody who in the next several months is going to go downhill even more steeply. This is not going to be a linear decline. It is going to accelerate. Anybody who's watched an elderly person decline this way knows it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I think there needs to be more of a discussion about just how evil First Lady Jill Biden is, that she is standing by as her husband is going through this. This is truly evil. Why she's not pulling him aside and saying enough's enough just shows that she is so hungry for power, she's willing to embarrass and let her husband embarrass himself that way. Shame on her.
Look, here's the thing. I'm just jealous of Republicans. Like, you guys are just so loyal, you know? I mean, MAGA is a cult of peaked-in high school conspiracy theorists who want tax breaks and a mass deportation of migrants, and they won't abandon Trump no matter what, and you just gotta admire that kind of loyalty.
Hang on. Do you know who the biggest deporter of migrants was in U.S. presidential history?
Yeah, it was the guy who's not running for president.
Did you know who it was?
It was Barack Obama.
Yes, it was. A Democrat.
Yeah.
3 million.
And I hate the Democratic policy.
3 million migrants he sent packing. He was the deporter in chief. Donald Trump, by comparison to Obama, wasn't even at the races when it came to deportation.
I just wish Democrats had Republican conviction. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we have a wet noodle as a candidate, and Republicans are like, yeah, he sexually abused E. Jean Carroll and he tried to overturn an election that he rightfully lost. And he's got 2 impeachments. Well, we love this guy. Let's effing go. And I just wish we had that kind of commitment.
Did you like Bill Clinton as a president?
No, not really. I did not believe in deregulation and like the 94 NAFTA bill.
What did you think of the fact he paid Paula Jones $850,000 to make a sexual harassment case go away? Or what did you think of him having
not
sex with a
right.
young? What did you think of having sex with
I
a young
mean, I don't know
intern
why you're
in the Oval
again,
Office?
Piers.
It's just so funny to me that Democrats claim that MAGA is so loyal to Trump, right? But the fact remains that most of the people that I would say is MAGA resisted that shot. If you remember, that was Trump's baby, his pride and joy for a little while. A lot of MAGA was saying, look, he needs to stop bragging about this and claiming that he was so great for making this thing happen so fast, because people didn't believe in it. People didn't take it. People were skeptical. I would argue that if they're in a cult, they would have rushed to get it before the Democrats did, but that wasn't the case. Trump maintains to this day that he doesn't even know who E. Jean Carroll is, or I guess he knows now, but he didn't know back then. Yet Francesca gives Bill Clinton a pass on the 2 things that he did while he was president. Who's the one in the cult? I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, consider sharing this video. That's what really helps the channel out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.